all the earth. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come into his presence with joyful songs. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and bless his name, for the Lord is good, and his love and devotion endures forever. His faithfulness continues to all generations. Joy, all the earth. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before him singing with a grateful heart. Know that he made us, we are his own. Enter his gates with thanks, walk in with praise. Enter his courts with joy. Call on his name. Shout for joy. Shout for joy. The Lord is good. His love endures. Shout for joy. Shout for joy. His faithfulness through every door. And keeps us. We are the sheep in the field of his care. Give thanks to him, bless his holy name. Enter his gates with thanks, walk in with praise. Enter his courts with joy. Call on his name. Shout for joy. Shout for joy. The Lord is good. His love endures. Shout for joy. Shout for joy. His faithfulness through every For the Lord is good. His mercy stays. It lasts forever, through every age. For the Lord is good. His love won't end. His truth goes on. Shout for joy. Shout for joy. Shout for joy. The Lord is good. His love endures. Shout for joy. Shout for joy. His faithfulness through every door. Shout for joy. Shout for joy. We are his own
Grace and peace, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are back. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. You know what we're going to do. We got our friend Nissim Black is going to be popping in a little bit later today. And we're going to have a good show. We got a good show planned. Now, I do want to do something. I don't know. Have I done this before? I'm always talking about have I done this before? I don't think I've done this one in a while. I want to talk about a movie I saw. So, Chief Executive Second Born made me go to the movies yesterday. We had a good time. We had a good time. But before we jump in, shout out to the best live chat on the internet. I see you, Amethyst. I see you. Who was this? I said Brianna number. She said, "Look, I'm number 11." I jumped up in here. Future is in the house. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Please be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Texas Mothers up in the building. Good morning to you, friend. I appreciate you for tapping in. The superstar, Chrissy's up in here. Good morning. Good morning. All right. There he is. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Present Not Perfect. Dropping little green heart grenades in the building. All right. So yesterday, me and Chief Executive Second Born, I have to admit, me and the girls, we just have these real heady conversations about movies and art because they like to go to theater, they like plays and all that kind of stuff like that. And so we were having a heart-to-heart conversation, a spirited conversation. We had one on Sunday, and then we had one on Tuesday. And when I say spirited, it was spirited about arts and what's involved in arts and so on and so forth. So we had a good conversation. And so Taylor said, Chief Executive Second Born said, you're going to go see Masters of the Universe with me, because I actually did want to see it, but I had heard really bad things about it. I heard it just wasn't a good movie. I thought I had heard something from a review that had kind of sullied what I thought the movie was going to be about. So we went to the movies yesterday. Chief Executive and I went to the movies yesterday. I have to admit, if you're an 80s baby and you liked He-Man, that movie wasn't bad. Sure, it had some modern isms to it. It has some dumb things in it. And I'll talk about those things as well. But overall, it really isn't a bad movie. It actually is pretty good. There's a lot of things that could have been fine-tuned. There's a lot of things that are not spot on. There's a lot of things that I feel like reduce the movie and limits its ability to do anything in the future, in my opinion. But the movie isn't really bad. It's not a bad movie. And if you wanted to watch it, if you want to watch the movie, I don't think it'd be bad. However, I'm going to say this. This is my I'm not doing like good, bad, and ugly. I'm just like spitballing what I thought about the movie. There are a lot of S jokes in this movie. Even me and my daughter were like, what in the world? Like, that wasn't necessary. There are a lot of adult locker room comedy, if you will, in the movie. There's just, and most kids probably will miss it. You have to know what you're listening for. So adults will pick it up. Kids will probably be like, whatever. But it's a little bit much. I'm like, why do they have so many jokes like that in here? It just it didn't make sense to me. And those are some of the outright things about it. I think the characters, for the most part, are actually pretty decent. I've never liked the jokes about adult activity. S jokes. I don't like the race swaps. There's no reason to swap some of those characters out. Yes. There's no reason. I mean, Idris Elba is a great actor. He didn't need to be in this movie. You could have picked any decent actor to play that role, and it would have been fine. It would have been perfectly fine. Again, some of the this movie is very, very, very aware that it's a movie, and it makes fun of itself in real time. I hope that makes sense. Some of the comedy, some of the jokes are not necessary. There's some parts, and this has happened in a lot of movies now, where they can't let something serious stay serious. They got to do something to make it funny. They got to do something to make it comical. They got to do something to ease the tension, if you will. And this movie does it a lot. There's a lot of tension. There's a part where Um, and these are going to be spoilers, so I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it. There's a part where Adam is clearly is feeling Tila, and he wants to let her know that he thinks she's the bee's knees, and they're getting real close to getting that little smooch on, right? They should have left that alone. They turned it into a joke, and again, so she puts him in the friend zone or whatever like that. But it wasn't necessary. They could have just said, they could have said no or whatever that nature and left it alone. Because clearly you feel all this relationship tension throughout the whole show. Even when they first meet, you're like, where this is gonna go. You know where this is gonna go. So it just didn't seem to it didn't work. Like all the jokes, the self-deprecating jokes in the movie He-Man, it could have been a really good movie. It could have, again, you don't have to take yourself seriously because we're talking about, like my daughter kept saying, Dad, they have a green talking cat. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You can't be too serious when you have a green talking tiger, right? You can't be but so serious, but you could be a little bit more serious in that regard. Um, um, Skeletor was fantastic. Skeletor was terrible at the same time. The self-deprecating jokes that Skeletor kept doing, stop it. Like it doesn't seem like anything serious. Like it doesn't seem like you're really a bad guy. It's like you're a comedian. And hey, I tell jokes. I tell jokes all the time. I'm telling jokes right now because I'm waiting for my guests to come on. But it didn't have to happen like that. I don't know why they did that. They could have just left Skeletor to be a very bad person. He was really trying to take over and really doing. They could have did that because there are stakes in this movie that seem pretty serious because they do delete people in this movie. I'm like, whoa. Me and my daughter, whoa, they actually deleted that person. Oh, ouch. They're really killing people. So clearly they mean business. He's a bad guy. He's deleting people. He's taking people's lives, but then he cracks jokes. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why. And everybody else is carrying along the same joke motif. It just didn't make sense. So I'm going to say this again. Modern movies, and matter of fact, I watched the video yesterday. Y'all let me know. There's a content creator who discussed why Disney can't make good movies anymore. And it was fantastic. It was excellent because she went through the history of Disney, and you can kind of see how Disney has gotten off track from Walt's original idea to where they are today. And they are so far out of the solar system, it's ridiculous. But one of the, you could see just some very small nuances. And I was telling my daughter, I said, though the movie was better than I thought, because somebody told me it was Barbie with muscles. That's not true. The movie is fairly decent movie. If you're an 80s kid and you play with G.I. Joes, you play with He-Man, you'll like this movie. That's just it. You'll like it. That being said, however, it could be a fantastic movie. It could be a wonderful movie if they actually had people who like G.I. Joe, who like He-Man, who like that genre of movie, or I'm sorry, of cartoons and toys, actually write the movie. Because you can tell whoever wrote this did not play with He-Man. You can tell that. You can tell they did not have He-Man toys when they were little, because you can tell that this person did not do it at all. Again, I'm just jumping around. I will tell you also, the actor who played He-Man, he was great. He was outstanding. There was no reason. That's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't need Idris Elba. If he was again, I think he's a fantastic actor. There was no reason for him to be Man of Arms, though. There was no reason whatsoever. I just thought it was a good movie. Again, I was pleasantly surprised. I got a good chance to hang out with my daughter. Now, oh gosh, now I'm gonna have to start a movie fund because she saw, what is it, Coyote versus Acme. That movie did look funny, though. I have to admit, that movie did look pretty funny. It's basically Wile E. Coyote from the Looney Tunes. He sues Acme because he's saying that they're the reason why he failed at catching the Roadrunner. It actually looked pretty funny, I have to admit. So we're gonna have to go see that too. And there's a couple other ones that popped up. And I'm like, "Uh, okay, fine. I might go see that." So anyway, if you were wondering about the movie He-Man, the Masters of the Universe, it's not a bad movie. I have to admit, it was better than. Let me say this: it's better than the reviews have made it out to be. It's probably not doing well at the movies because so many people have said bad things about it, but it's not. It's actually, I mean, again, we're not a serious movie. Yeah, there's a Wile E. Coyote versus Acme movie. I'm sorry, it looks funny, man. If you just want something to fun, well, I know nothing about it. I'm just looking at the trailer I saw yesterday. It looked funny. Me and my daughter both said, "Hey, we might go see that." She's got a job. She can take her dad. She can take her dad, out to the movies. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask my guest, is he going to take me out to the movies? You think he is? I don't think so. What's going on, brother? How are you?
What's up, brother Ben? How you?
Quite well, quite well. I'm sorry you
Amazing,
had to hear me
amazing.
going. You had to hear me go on
That's
a
all
rant
good.
about
It's all
movies.
good. That's my
Now,
bad. I was a little tardy trying to get back here, running across the neighborhood. So
not a
all
problem at all,
good,
Frank.
all good. Now I haven't
Now, let me.
listen straight up. You want me to be honest with you? I haven't been
What?
to a movie. Not even been to a movie. I don't think I've seen an actual movie in at least maybe 13 years, 14 years, somewhere around there. I haven't seen a movie.
I'm not mad at
I'm
you.
not a
I'm not mad. I mean, there's certain things I'll crash out about. There's certain
right,
movies I'm
right,
like,
right,
I'm gonna go watch it, but I'm not. I
right.
can totally understand why you don't. So,
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
do
But
you
yeah,
have a genre that you would
no.
be interested if you could? Is there
I
anything
mean,
that you would say, "Oh,
I
I would
like
like to see that movie"?
documentaries. Yes, I like
Documentaries, okay.
documentaries. I like real films and stuff like that. But like history, like my favorite movies growing up was, which is interesting that I didn't even see the new Michael Jackson movie, but like The American Dream, The Temptations. I like
Uh,
biopics. I love
I'm,
seeing,
I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you this though. If you
what's
go
up.
see that Michael Jackson movie, be
Uh-huh.
careful because you
Really?
might you might dance a little bit. You might
Oh,
want to
okay.
you might be caught singing a little bit. It was actually so it's funny because they took me to see that. And I was like,
Oh,
I did
really?
not want to go see it. I did not want to go see it. I'll
Really?
be honest. I was like, I had talked all this trash. And come day of, I'm like, "Hey, let me buy y'all tickets." Like, well, where's your ticket, Dad? That movie was really good. That
You
movie was
probably left there
excellent.
probably like, but it's Mike, man. Listen, I know
No,
the movie has to be phenomenal because I have not seen the movie, but the
okay.
energy of the movie has reached me. Like, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like I can
If you
feel the energy of that movie. It's definitely made an impact. So no doubt about it.
if
I've
you
been
just
hearing just Michael Jackson just popping up everywhere. I even did an episode recently on Michael Jackson just based off of something that I'd seen, and then that leads you down the rabbit hole of just like listening to all the songs. And you just like,
yeah.
oh man, he was one of a kind. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Yeah, definitely not trying to justify because again, we're not arguing about Michael Jackson's past or anything of that nature.
Pass. Yep.
But if if,
Yep.
if
Yep.
you want to just say, I want my kids to like peep into my past or peep into what it was like being raised, in this that movie does a great job, in my opinion, of just kind of
What's so
pointing out like
interesting?
this.
I have to tell you this, bro. I just thought about this right now. My daughter just told me this for the first time. My daughter's 18. I think your daughter just graduated also. My daughter just
Yeah, my daughter's
graduated.
I got a rise at 19-year-old. Yep.
Really? Okay, so
Yep.
my daughter just graduated. And so I don't remember where she was. I'm in a very closed off community. So my kids don't like if I ask they don't know who Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, they don't even know what that is. That's how far they are away from pop culture. So my
Yep.
daughter sees Michael Jackson. And I think this is really what started it the other day. And after I've left the world for so long, you don't even really think things got a grip on you like they do. But she
Mhm.
said something that was literally fighting words. She said that somebody showed her the other day Michael Jackson, Billie Jean, and she says, "I don't understand why people like him so much. It was horrible." And I said, "What?" like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like one of those things. Like I said, "What?" Like this is for her. She has no context for pop world or any of that. She has no
Mhm.
idea anything. She's just. And then she started going off on how, yeah, it's just it was horrible. I didn't think the music was good. He can't dance. And I was just like, hold up,
Wow.
hold up, hold up, hold up.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
and I'm just trying to frame that in context. Okay, maybe is something wrong with us because we grew up with that? Like, I found myself getting really upset, genuinely upset that she said this to me. It wasn't like one of those youngster things. So just to, I just had to say that for context that,
No.
you can be far removed and not be far away. Cause once that's it, I got offended.
Well, also keep in mind our consumption of musical entertainment media was vastly different than today. The
Vastly.
fact now
Right.
you can pull up your phone and get whatever music you want.
Mhm.
Nissim Black is dropping the album at 9:50. Guess what? I got it at 9:51. I got access to it. Now you're
Right.
not
No, it's
standing
crazy.
outside record stores. You're not
Right.
waiting. I remember sitting there watching Thriller with my dad, my mom, and all
Right.
of our family watching Thriller and
Right.
realizing it was 30 minutes long. Like that was a big deal that Thriller was so long,
Right,
right?
right, right, right,
Now
right.
you just no, there is no. So I think even it's not just the music.
Mhm.
It is the consumption of it and how it was delivered. And it was only on BET, I'm sorry, only on MTV at that time. And
Mhm.
it was a big deal.
Our power was something different back then, yeah. The
Yeah, like
whole hype around something was much different.
right. Yeah,
And you
because
see it
you're
today in
not gonna get that
professional
now.
sports. Yeah, no, for
Say it again.
sure. I was thinking about in professional sports, you see that like football's a big deal because it's played once a week. The teams are
Mhm.
playing, once or twice a week,
Yeah,
whatever the case is. The NBA is just a long, drawn out season, 80 some games, and it's like every night it doesn't pick up until the finals, really, to be honest.
right.
Like, because you can miss a few. So I
Mhm.
think right now what's happening in entertainment in general is just so much. It's just oversaturated, as they say. So there's no more like, oh, that person is the GOAT. Like this is
Correct.
so I think that that's sort of some things have lost their ability to be special in our eyes.
Right. Because of the availability of it. And
Availability.
again,
Mhm.
I like combat sports. I used to watch UFC pretty regularly. They used to have
Right.
a pay-per-view once a month. Now they got one pretty
Mm.
much every week.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
it's a
Wow.
big so now it's like oversaturated, at least twice a month sometimes. And it's just like
Right.
it's oversaturated when it used to be like an event. Like me and my
Right.
guys used to call them like, hey, we already got our table booked at the place. We're gonna watch it, blah, blah, blah. Now it's like if I miss it this week, there'll be another one next week. I mean,
Right. Right.
literally.
Right.
So, all right.
Was
My man, Nissim Black is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much to the mods. Please make sure you drop Nissim's link down in the chat. I wanted to have you come on today. There's a couple of now we could definitely talk about Carmelo Anthony. Of course, of
Mhm.
course.
Mhm.
There's been
Mhm.
so much ink spilled about him. But
Right.
in the process of researching about him, I ran across a content creator. His name is Dennis Sperling. And
Mhm.
I think he's a fairly decent commentator, and I think he's a decent guy. He has some perspective on some things that I would love to hear your thoughts on. And I have to
Mhm.
admit, I haven't
Mhm.
watched this yet. So
Okay.
what I'm
Okay.
going
Let's
to
watch.
do, now I will give you this. He's talking about what I think both you and I talked about last time, the baby mama culture,
Mhm.
where children are born to unwed mothers. Now, let me
Right.
ask you, Nisam,
Mhm.
what people group, if we just say white or black, what people group do you think are more affected by baby mama culture? White white children or black children? If just from your observation.
I would believe it's black children from my
Oh,
observation. And there's a reason why I say that because
yeah.
it's become today a generational thing. You understand what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
even if you say, somebody's born out of wedlock and some white, you know, teenage girl, she went off the rails and whatever, she has this kid, for whatever reason, the father ain't around, all this. Usually she has a mother and father at home.
Correct.
And if she's really lucky, she has a grandparent, a
Hmm.
grandmother, and grandfather who are still together. So there's already talking about a whole different level of support system around that one child, as opposed to where a lot of times in the black communities, which I would see, I don't know what the numbers are. I'm just guessing, right? Is that it's usually probably only grandma. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times
Right.
the kids ain't even raised by the mother, raised by the grandma. But even the grandmother still ain't with the grandfather, and so then you have a generational thing of just like dysfunction, so that's what my assumption would be.
No, I got you. So, Brother Sperling, I'm gonna bring him on and tell me wherever you want to stop. I got some place I might want to
Okay.
pop in myself. But this is Dennis Sperling. I'll make sure the link is down in the description after this video is over. But let's check out what the brothers got to say. Let's go. We've got to talk about foundational Black American women, okay? Because when people bring up hood prom, okay, and well, let me say this first. Are you familiar with hood prom?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with hood.
Okay. It's such an embarrassment, man.
It is embarrassment.
High levels of cringe right there for sure.
Learn something, I should earn something. That's about it. I'm not going to go too deep into that because I want this thing to roll through. But she was directly dealing with foundational Black Americans. This is important that we delineate. Hood prom, all right? Right? You try to frame that as some Black culture as dysfunctional. That's what she was doing. And they always circle back to this single mother narrative, like that's the foundation. So let's deal with it directly using numbers from places like the Pew Research Center for Disease Control, or the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Shout out to Fuquan and the United States Census Bureau. Now, here's the thing I want y'all to understand. Are y'all with me? Listen to me. Listen. You're in here. Around 28 to 30% of white women who give birth aren't married.
28 to 30%. Go ahead. What'd you say, brother?
Okay, 28 to 30. No, he said if we were in here. I said we're in here.
We're in here. This is gonna be interesting. I can already tell what we're going already.
28 to 30% of white women are born. What did he say?
Of white. Well, let's back up here. Exactly what he said. You're right.
Yeah, say what he said. I want to hear that stat.
I'm
real time fact checking over here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I got you. Because I was trying to do it too. So we we are birds of the same feather. All right, here we go.
You're in here.
Mm-hmm.
Around 28 to 30% of white women who give birth aren't married.
All right. 28 to 30% of white women have children outside of wedlock. They're not married. Got it. 28 to 30%.
Okay.
All right. All right.
And that's every year.
Every year.
Okay. All right. 28 to 30% of white women who give birth are not married. Okay. 28 to 30.
So let's just play a game. If 100 babies are born a year, let's just say 100 babies are born to white women. That means 28 to 30 babies are born without a dad in the house.
Right.
Is that fair?
That's what he said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. 28 to 30%. Right. Okay. Make sure. Okay.
Percent of white women who give birth are not married.
Okay.
Is that clear? That's a lot. Now, the total U.S. births are about 3,596,000 births. Okay, 28 to 30% of those are single mothers, single white women who got knocked up and pushed one.
He messed up. Did you see what he did?
Yeah. I don't.
You see what he did?
No. I didn't.
He said of white women, 28 to 30% of their children are born out of wedlock. Then he says of American births, there's 3 million American births a year, and that 28% of those are. That's not necessarily true.
That's not true.
That's not true. That's not saying that all.
Yeah, that doesn't. I don't understand how that adds up.
Yeah, I think he. Yeah, I'm sorry, brother Dennis. I see what he's doing. That don't mean every birth. No, that's not.
Okay, 28 to 30% of those are single mothers, single white women who got knocked up and pushed one out without a ring. Okay, but here's where the conversation gets. They don't say that. Okay, white women have roughly 1.8 to 2 million. Well, let me say it like this. That's about 5 to 600,000 children annually. Okay, 600,000 children hatched out or given birth by white women every year. Now, I want you to zoom out. Now let's use some broader estimates that come out.
But you see, he did not tell us. And this is a problem that I have with this. And a lot of people, one of the issues that we have is that we are quick as a highly melanated community, Nissim, to point our finger at the less melanated community.
Right.
And so
Right.
the analogy I would give, and they're always like, well, what about white people? You're not saying this about white people. You're not saying this about
Right.
Asian people, Hispanic people, Indian people,
Right.
fill in the blank.
Right.
Why are you only talking about black folk?
Why? Yeah,
said, well,
exactly.
And I said, well, think about it like this. And this is my analogy I want to give you. Imagine that you played sports. And let's say you have a capable team versus another capable team. And you are the coach of your team. So you are the coach of your rugby team, the coach of your soccer team, the coach of your basketball team. But your team is getting a lot of penalties, unforced errors, a lot of violations all throughout the game. Would you expect, and let's say the other team is getting some too, but not as many. Would it be expected for you as the coach to get up, walk over to the other side field or the other side's bench and coach them to not get penalties?
No.
Would that make sense?
No, absolutely not.
I think most
You
people
need to coach your own team.
You need to coach your own team. And
Exactly.
so most people realize that I'm not going to have I don't expect my coach or the captain of my team to walk over there and tell the other team or the other captain how not to get violations, penalties, and fouls.
Right.
Or how to shoot better or how to follow through. You would expect them to coach the team that they're on.
Right.
And get better, right? So why would so now as a black man who believes in being married, raising your family, taking care of your family, why would I be concerned if another people group isn't doing that yet?
Right. I have no
Should not be coaching. Shouldn't I be coaching? Let's just pretend that Nissim is out here wilding out. You out here wilding, and Lady Nissim Black calls me and be like, Jason, Nissim is wilding out. He's in these streets. He acting a fool. I know he looks up to you as a brother. He's your friend. Can you talk to him? Why would I not talk to you, but I would go talk to Sam down the street? He doing the same thing. Oh, I'm gonna talk to you because, well, one, you're my friend. You share my same phenotype, and you're about what I'm about, which is building up families of the highly melanated family. Now, I'm not saying I don't care about Sam's family. But I care about seeing black families do well. My belief system is that if black families do well, everybody's family will prosper from that. I do believe that.
Absolutely.
So if Nissim family is strong, Jay Witt family is strong, all these black families are strong, it will have an effect on Sam's. It'll have an effect on Jose's. It'll have an effect on other families around them because our families are better. Now,
but why is it also too? I hear what you're saying, but it's also one of those things that you said also in the beginning that really caught me is that it's always has to be either only black or white, right? So if we're doing bad, let's look at white people. You're right. You ain't looking at Asians. You ain't looking at the Indians. You're not. It always has to be. It has to be. We compare it to what white people are doing. Oh, so you think if we talk about how bad we're doing right now, we need to compare it to white people, right? Like I don't understand.
Have you ever heard my theory on this?
No,
I don't know. You meant personally, I believe that black people truly esteem and pedestalize white people to the point that the only valid argument is white people.
Right. 1000%.
So let me jump back to the beginning of our conversation.
Movement, really pushed that, by the way. I think that's
and a lot of my people have heard me argue this because I'm a comic book fan. And a lot of people don't realize that the only valid Peter Parker is Peter Parker. Only valid Spider-Man is Peter Parker. That's the only valid Spider-Man. And we know that because they made Miles Morales a black Spider-Man who basically is Peter Parker, but he's black.
Right.
So instead of saying, let's give spider powers to somebody else and go off in a totally different direction, the only way that you can make Miles Morales valid is to make him basically a dark carbon copy of Peter Parker,
Peter Pan.
because Peter Parker
Right.
is the only valid Spider-Man. So
Right,
what you're
right,
saying, and the same thing with Val Zod, with the Black Spider-Man, Nubia, the Black Wonder Woman, fill in the blank.
Mhm.
You're only saying that the only valid characters are white.
Right.
And the only
Right.
way to make a character that's similar to is by basically making them darker. Use a
Making them
black,
dark. Yep.
use a dark, use a dark brown crayon. So, but that's us. That is our fault. We don't
Right.
need to do that, but we do it all the time. We all the time. Well, instead of saying, let me look at what I'm doing in my community, we immediately jump across town to the suburbs and say, well, they're doing that over there. No,
Mhm.
that's irrelevant.
Right.
It is not
Right.
an apples to apples comparison of any inner city to any suburb to say, well,
Right.
over in the suburbs, the white kids is doing drugs too. Dude, the drugs in the inner city are ravaging
It
us,
is destroying. No,
destroying. So, but we would much rather compare ourselves to them. It's kind of like a standard, kind of like God's
Yeah.
word, right? We can
Right,
say
right.
God's word all the time. If I compare
Right.
myself to Nissim, hey, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. If I compare myself to the scriptures, I'm in trouble. I'm in cash money trouble. So I think that's my opinion. Like we are constantly trying to coach the other team and not actually
Right.
dealing with our own.
Not dealing
We
with
got
our own
players.
issues.
Yeah, we got players that ain't in their uniforms, ain't got their shoes tied. They out here shooting a basketball on the football
Sagging their
court
football
field.
pants, man.
Right,
Sagging the football pants.
Sagging the
tight.
football pants is crazy. Instead of actually trying to be a good player for our team, we're busy worrying
Right.
about they over there doing this. Stop
Right.
it.
It's really
Okay.
bad. It's really bad. Oh yeah,
Oh,
pull it.
All right, let's bring it back up here. Let's see what we got. I forgot where we were.
And when we look at, there are about 8 to 9 million black mothers altogether. Okay. Now, when I say black mothers, about 3.5 to 4 million are black single mothers. Now, if you listen to that number, they're going to say, oh, well, that's a lot of single mothers. Oh, that's a lot of black single mothers. But you have to account for the fact that since we're talking about hood prom, we're talking distinctly about FBA. Somebody type FBA in the chat room. We're talking about foundational black Americans. We talk about the American Negro. We're talking about descendants of the enslaved period, people who were here before 1865, not recent people. So when we discuss FBA, birth out of wedlock, you have to understand that there are 62 different ethnic groups of black people in America.
Hold on,
That's
Jay. I have
exhausting.
a question though.
go
Hopefully
ahead,
he's
man.
going to get there. The question is, even when we went back to the 28% of white, there's an issue. I can understand with being
Mhm.
born out of wedlock. That doesn't always mean single, though. You understand what I mean? So the question is, the issue of what we're dealing with a lot of times is the father absence. It doesn't just because the child is born without being married. I would say, yeah, there's an obvious issue with probably the values there, or whatever the case is, or however that happened. However,
Okay.
that doesn't always mean that the circumstances, that's the problem sometimes we're looking at statistics, doesn't mean that the circumstances are the same because the numbers could pop on the same sheet, because in another category, they could be worlds apart. This one has a father that's present. This one may not know who the father is, right? So I think that
Okay,
that's
I got you.
the numbers themselves. I hope that he's going to get to that point, because I don't understand how, whether they're single, they're not single. The point of the matter is are their parents to father and to mother the child?
No, I'm right there with you. And I do think that, I don't know, because I'm really watching this first time with you.
Right.
I'm going to go on a limb and say he's probably not going to say that. He's probably not going to
Right.
deal with that, because
Mhm.
in my opinion, the issue, though I think it is a very bad issue that so many black children are born to single moms. The greater issue is that they're not raised by men. They're being raised by their moms,
Exactly.
their aunties, grandma, and so forth. Therein is the problem. And
Mhm.
he did a video that a lot of people like. He was talking about, we have emotional, what is it? Little boys in men's bodies behaving emotionally like women. I thought it was great.
Right.
It was great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so I think that's the bigger problem even is that
Right.
they're not raised by men. Because yeah, you could have a man and a woman living together. They have kids. They're not married. The woman is technically single on paper, but she has a man in the household. That is very possible.
Right.
Okay. And I'm not saying that that's the right way to do it at all.
Yeah, you
but
and I both would
I know
agree
that's not
this,
what you're
so-
saying either.
Yeah.
But that's different than if she's single and the dad lives on, in another town or another state or whatever. That's a different scenario than that. But both of them, the question is the man involved in the upbringing and raising of the child? Therein is the question that I don't think people are asking. But let us keep this dance going. Let's bring him back over here. Dennis, get on back over here, man. Let's go.
That's Jamaican, that's Haitian, that's Dominican, that's Trinidadian, that's Tobago, that's Ghana, that's all the countries in Africa. You got all the people, South America, et cetera, et cetera. All right. And so numerically, when you integrate those into the statistics, that's a bigger number than foundational Black Americans. So here's the thing. About 75%, and then also they have their own children. So they have second generation. So when you break the numbers down, 75% of Black Americans are non-immigrant in lineage. And so when you separate that out, about a quarter of the children born to so-called Black Americans are not from our culture. They wouldn't have a hood prom because they are not foundational Black Americans. She's only dealing with it. She's not talking about some people who came from here from Zimbabwe who had some kids. She's talking about foundational Black Americans. So when you do the numbers, about 375,000 Black women in this country, anywhere from 375 to 410, have children outside of wedlock. Okay. Of the 550 Black births, it's only about 375,000. And so what does that mean? What it means is foundational Black American women are only giving birth to 375 children out of wedlock, and white women are birthing up to 600,000 bastard kids every year. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm very interested how you would classify the word bastard. So it's very interesting because according from the biblical understanding of what a bastard is that a child that's born not necessarily out of wedlock, but one who's born of a forbidden relationship, meaning that I understand that you will want them forbidden in the sense of adultery, for instance. A child that's born out of adultery is much considered a bastard child in terms of I guess the biblical understanding. So I don't know if I would understand. So I don't know if first off I wouldn't call him a bastard, but that's interesting. It could mean that in American regular typical American understanding as well. So
now most people use it as a pejorative.
A pejorative.
It's kind of, I mean, it's a way to attack without attacking.
Right.
A way to, again, I would put it on the same, in the same ledger as any other slur that we would call somebody. Fill in a blank, whatever, white slur, Hispanic slur, Black slur, children born out of wedlock slur. You didn't have to call them that. I mean, I got your point. I understand what he's trying to say. It's not necessary. You could easily say child born out of wedlock.
Yeah, it's still hard to understand. Listen, one thing I do believe is true. I do believe that the epidemic of what's going on with the imposterous Black culture is what I call it. I don't think it's real Black culture. I just talked about this on my show yesterday. Is that I think that the amount that we see it and that the amount that is put on display, I don't think that those support probably the real numbers of what's really going on. Although it's hard for me to say that because since I come from that type of environment, I grew up in the hood and I'm witnessing it. That's also really the world of which I know very well also. But I do know that I had aunties and uncles and great uncles and uncles and aunties and cousins who were not reflective of the lifestyle that I had. So in terms of when I start to think about this, and it's just crazy. I'm thinking about this through real time. Like I grew up in the hood. Both my mother, my father, they were both drug dealers. You know, I'm
Wow.
involved in the same thing as a kid, right? So I think the
Mhm.
first time I smoked pot, I was 9 years old. I was already selling by the time I was 12. So I was running with goons, you know, and
Yeah.
and I'm thinking about every time there was family reunions and people were coming from out of town or whatever, I had a wholesome, like, you know what I'm saying, outside my immediate family of people who were
Mhm.
working, who businesses and stuff like that. Like we were the hood ones, you know what I'm saying? And I had a cousin or two who did so, like when I start to think about it in its totality, yes, that was the environment I was around. But when I got with my family, I started to realize, like, hold on, not everybody's like I'm
Behaves
really
like this.
tripping out having this revelation
Yeah.
right now. So I wonder how many people had that. You know what I'm saying? Like when I got around the rest of my family, like the family as a whole, the auntie, cousin, so and so, and this second, third cousin twice removed. I don't even really know how those work. I've only heard that really out of white people's mouth. This cousin
That
twice
is a good
removed,
point.
and I don't know what it
Twice
means.
removed, yeah.
However, it is. If I have a thought that you're my cousin, then you're my cousin in the black world. So, but anyway, so I'm thinking about that. Like I had a really decent, wholesome family outside of my immediate family. Not just saying they
Mhm.
did not all have the same dysfunction as us. So I'm not crazy thrown off by the data of what he's saying or what he's saying, but this is the culture that we allowed to be propped up. And it's definitely what's most prevalent in people when they think of black people. This is what they think of.
No, I agree. So I'm gonna take a little detour because I
Mhm.
really don't. And somebody even mentioned it. Like somebody said, like his stats. I need a whiteboard. Shout out to Future. His
Okay,
numbers.
got it.
His numbers are all over the place. I
They
like
are.
this guy. He's had some
Mhm,
pretty solid takes. This one's probably
mhm,
not his better take. So I'm gonna
mhm.
point out. I don't know if his numbers are right. Okay, I'm just gonna
Right.
give him credit. Say I don't know his numbers are right. But what I'm gonna point
Mhm.
out is the ramifications of what do you say 600,000 black kids being born out of wedlock. Okay, not a problem.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about what that actually looks like. So I'm gonna bring
Right.
this in. Shout out. Let's talk about teen takeovers. Have
Mhm.
you been keeping up
Oh
with
man.
these?
Oh
Okay,
man.
so
Yeah, man.
if this is so bad, if what he's talking about, this should be the teen takeover should be flooded with white kids, right?
Right.
If
Right.
he's trying to,
That's true.
the way he's trying to couch it,
That's
then
true.
so let's go ahead and we'll probably just count all the white kids that we see.
Right.
Put the number of white kids you see in the chat when you see them. Let's go.
Teen takeovers started popping up in Chicago in 2022. This video from April of 2023 showing a trail of destruction left behind. Since then, the issue has continued to resurface. The president addressed takeovers almost a month ago, and just about every politician in the city has weighed in as well.
Please disperse.
Since then, there's been finger pointing, political posturing, and plenty of promises.
The vast majority of the young people who came downtown because it was great weather and an opportunity to enjoy the city. That's absolutely entirely appropriate. There are a few that came with different intentions, and they have and they will be dealt with.
More than 3 years later, a different mayor, some new city council members, but many residents argue the same problem remains.
We have to also continue to work to mobilize our city and community resources to prevent and mitigate the impacts of large, unauthorized teen gatherings.
Mayor Brandon Johnson vetoed Alderman Brian Hopkins' snap curfew designed to help police break up large, unsupervised gatherings. City Council failed to override that veto. That was 11 months ago and just days ago.
I hope summer goes well in the city of Chicago.
We heard from a frustrated Alderman Ray Lopez after his proposal to find parents whose children participate in teen takeovers failed to move ahead. The ordinance was voted down in committee 32-16 and never made it to the full city council. But some of the people who helped organize teen takeovers say the answer isn't as simple as another ordinance.
When you say you've hosted multiple teen takeovers, how many, if you had to put a number on it, Daryl, how many would you say you've hosted?
Anonymously, probably like 20 plus.
No?
30 plus. I done hosted like too many.
Daryl Hess and Nunu say despite community organizations offering programs throughout the summer, many teens are looking for something different.
I feel like the Boys and Girls Club, the library is not hitting no more. So like they need another form place to like somewhere to go, you know.
Hess says one of the biggest problems is that the young people participating in these takeovers haven't been given a real seat at the table to explain what's driving the behavior.
When I think about City Hall and I think about the discussions that's being made, I think about them just being stern. Like, you know, we definitely need to be in the conversations with them so they can get a better understanding.
Tia Ewing, Fox Chicago.
All right. Did y'all put in how many white kids did you see in that clip?
I didn't see too many. I mean, they're walking around on the outside, hearing it.
Right. There's some high yellow kids, but no, man. I'm sorry, man. Wow. Now, this is my question, and I would ask this to Dennis. All right, looking here, and I don't remember exactly where Dennis Sperling is located. I'm like, okay, every city has been infected with this. I'm here in Atlanta. We've had them, not like to the degree that they have in Chicago, but we've had them, right. And I'm like, okay, how many of those kids are white? Let's go ahead and do that. But then also, since you're trying to finger point at other people groups, how many of those kids are white? Okay, but then also, how many of those kids have dads at home? Because I really believe now he's a dad. He's a dad. He's married. He has kids, and apparently, you know, hearing this testimony, he governs and raises his family. I think that's great. Can you look at these teen takeovers with a sincere, honest look and say these kids are being governed and managed by a dad in the household? Therein is the problem, because we don't see white kids doing that.
Exactly it. Right. That's true. That's true. And it's another thing. Like, here's my question. And this is where, you know, it's a culture thing. Really, it is a cultural thing, because who consumes, you think, maybe the soundtrack, the music that drives this type of behavior, right? Who consumes it more? Obviously, white people, white kids. There's much more of them. They're the ones that show up all the concerts. They pay all this other stuff. And you see them, you know, even they may have a period of time where they're just really into hip hop, you know, usually through the teenage years, and they try to be black and everything else like that. But it doesn't usually affect them in the same way as it does black youth. Right? You understand what I'm saying? And so the question is that if they are spending the same amount of time as of consumption hours of the same dysfunction and the same everything else, why is it affecting black kids more than it's affecting white kids? Same poison. It's a cultural understanding. There's always something to fall back on. I think so, much more so what I would say with the, you know, with the white youth who are listening to this, or whatever other culture or races, right?
Yeah.
And to where it doesn't affect them is because it's a culture thing. And so I think that, you know, at the end of the day, that's why that even though if they're consuming the same things, if they're watching and they're being influenced by the same media or whatever the case is, it's influencing one and having much more of a detrimental effect towards black youth than it is of any other other race or nation.
Let me ask you, let me pose this, and I'm really working this out in my mind as I'm talking. So as a man, as a black man living in Jerusalem, you have a certain culture that probably is different from me. Is that fair? Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, you know what? We were talking about Michael Jackson at one point. All right, there we go.
Right.
And so let's say for a moment, I come over your house and we just whip out some old Michael Jackson. We just, me, you, and your wife, my wife, and we're just having a good old time, just yucking it up. You know, maybe a little bit of dancing is going on, maybe a little bit of moonwalking is happening, right? But we're like, man, you know, going back to our childhood, talking about all this kind of stuff, and then we shut it down and we go back to life as we were living before.
Right.
Is that fair? Because one, you have a cultural framework and a lifestyle framework that we just, for a moment, we just kind of stepped out of it for a moment, if you will.
Exactly.
And just had a good old time referring back to it. This generation, they don't have those guardrails around them. So, and sad to say, anything that's counter to what's considered quote unquote black culture is considered bad. So anything so the things that you and I would probably amen and agree to as normal in our parlance, man being married to a woman, raising his kids, taking care of his family, all those kind of things that we see, those things are being considered bad. in certain culture, in certain frameworks, sad to say. Oh, you trying to act white? Why are you speaking proper? So on and so forth. So even though we might have a little bout of, you know, yucking it up in the cookout and kind of, you know, but that's not our normal life.
Exactly.
If we're playing dominoes and getting it on in the backyard at the barbecue, that's not our normal life. We can step out of that and come back to normal life. They don't have the normal life. The normal life is the behavior.
True. Is that not to be able to compartmentalize these things in a sounded like candy for a second. Anyway, but the idea is that my mother, I don't know if I said this to you last time, but my mother had a phone voice for when she was dealing with professional matters.
Yep.
And she had another voice from when she was talking to her girlfriend. I can walk in the room and know about who my mother's on the phone with based on the way that she's talking, right? There's a way to have a profession. And she's not fake. This is just really who she is. However she gets off the phone and when she goes back to is who she is. These kids, and I've seen this a lot, they don't know how to turn it off and turn it on. They talk to their homies the same way they talk to their boss, the same way they talk to everybody else. And there's something about, you know, culture and society of this straight up, just like, you know, you just got to be you. There's no limits. You can be what you want. You can identify as you want. You can say, and I think that it's a massive identity crisis that these kids are dealing with. I think that's what it is.
Well, and we can talk about this one because I argue that everything that we deal with is downstream from religion. Once you answer the question, Nissim, who is God? Once you answer that question, all the other things line them. Well, no, they not automatically line up, but they have a guardrail and you have a plumb line to line everything else up with. So if you know who God is, you are now going to know who you are.
Exactly.
Who you're not.
Exactly. No, I was just talking about this because I had seen the debate Stephen A. Smith hosted. I forget what it was. It was Officer Tatum and I think it was what's his name? Gary James. I forget. I just lost his name again. James or whatever. So they're having a debate, liberal guy versus the Republican, and they're going back and forth.
Really?
Right. Okay. So in the midst of it, the other guy says, you know, before I'm anything else, I'm black. He says it's a big problem. And so obviously I know you have what would be Tatum, but I'm just saying that his argument obviously was, no, I'm not. Like, I'm not black first. Like, and so they're having this conversation. And Stephen A. Smith can't understand what's wrong with saying that you're black before you anything else. Like, why can't you identify? It's like, and I had a whole rant yesterday on this, that it's not about, first off, who you are is already obsolete to whose you are. If you don't know whose you are, what are you talking about who you are? You understand what I'm saying? You won't even begin to have an understanding. Your creed first. I am a Jew. I believe that you are a Christian. My hope, my thought, my prayer is that you are a Christian before you're black. You're like, because the moment, whatever you are at the foundational level, that is your faith, because it's going to dictate what your values are. It's going to dictate how you look at the world. Your worldview is going to be shaped by whatever is foundationally first for you first is going to dictate everything. So I think that's been the problem. I think we are looking at a classic, ancient biblical rebirth of idol worship based on skin color, based on whatever else, whatever creed, identifying as all this. We are literally dealing with modern day idol worship.
No, I agree. Because think about it, man. Everybody has a phone. So just look at your phone. Like, if what is it if it's not defined by who made it?
Right.
Like, wait, like I can. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it wouldn't make sense because the creator of the phone, Samsung, Apple, Waymo, whomever made your phone, told you what is used for. So now you know that it's a phone. Otherwise, it's a slab of metal and glass. And what is it? The phone can't define itself.
Right. Exactly.
The maker defined it. And
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I don't know, man. I feel like he's talking himself in circles. I like him though. I really do like him.
Hopefully, want to get to punchline. Listen, if you said the guy's great, I believe you, and I'm sure that there's some point.
I know, right? I let you down, man. I let you down. This one's not. I might have to pull up another one, man, because this one's not the. This is not the barn burner I thought it would be.
Let's see what he
What's
gets
the
to.
big
Let's see.
problem?
He's probably got a good point.
Okay. So when we say stuff like 70 to 80% of black births are out of wedlock, okay, but you turn around and ignore the over 500,000 white women who are pushing out babies every year. 600,000. You can't use percent.
I figured out. He thinks that the problem is primarily that there are kids being born that don't have dads in the home.
Yeah, that's not.
Now that is a problem. That is a problem.
Yeah. That's
But
a problem, but it's not
right.
But even he's saying born out of wedlock. Like I said, that's why I said defining is everything, because that has nothing. That percentage has nothing to do with what we're really getting at. The issue is how many of these kids have fathers. Like this is what you and I have been talking about. So I know he's got to have a punchline. He's got to have something.
Right, because we're not seeing teen takeovers in the suburbs. We're not seeing white kids running over golf courses acting foolish. No, why do we only see teen takeovers in the inner city? Like, there's a problem.
Right.
Like,
right.
And I don't think even his numbers are right, but I digress.
Percentages to tell one story and ignore the total. Who is actually putting more bodies in the street? Where is the single mother problem coming from? The question is, which of these occurrences is having a greater impact on society? The 600,000 single white mothers raising these children, or the 375,000 single black mothers? What's the bigger number? Okay. And somebody is pushing out 600,000, another was pushing out 375. We clearly see what the bigger number is. See, if we're talking about scale, the answer isn't what people are trying to make it seem. Okay.
I would like for him to explain. I didn't see these numbers.
Yeah.
Because as somebody said,
even with truthful numbers, it don't make no sense to me, because it's always going to be about impact. It's going to be about impact. That's what it always is. I'm saying a clear on what I would say is it only takes one bad apple anyway, right? So if you it doesn't matter if the numbers is not what's dictating society, right? Look at countries. Look at the way that countries are moving and who runs it. There are elites. There's government systems. The governments are usually smaller than the majority of the country. You don't have a government. So if you're talking about impact, who impacts America the most? The government. But if you add up from every single state and from every single, province of the United States, every mayor, every governor, and all that, and you put the entire government and the federal government together, it still doesn't equal nowhere near towards the overwhelming majority of the people. And they're going to have the impact on society in a crazy way. So I don't think that to say that it's by numbers or anything like that. People, most of the time, you can find that people, societies, whoever, they can be manipulated. So it doesn't matter. I think that it's silly to say that because of the number, even if the numbers were true. I don't know if he's right, but he could be right.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna make it audible. Nissim, because I done invited you on here. I was bigging him up, saying, "Oh man, Sperling is a good content creator and all that stuff." And I done gave you one. I don't like this one. I feel like this one was not a good one. All right, I'm gonna jump. I'm just gonna make it audible. I'm closing that one out. I'll still leave the link in the description if people want to check it out. But he did talk about one. I think both of. I'm hoping. Again, this is a blind reaction. He's talking about all these quote unquote content creators and influencers, Chud the Builder, Nick Fuentes, Myron Gaines, and them being racist. I think this one's going to be better. I'm praying, bro, because otherwise I can't be 0 for 2, man. I can't be 0 for 2 up in here tonight. I can't. Shout out to Nissim Black. If you could, please, if the moderators could double check, make sure we've dropped Nissim's chat link in the chat, please. And I also want to say thank you so very much to Kay right here with the 5. This is the day that Michael Jackson passed away. I don't know, it's June. Wow, I didn't know that. June 25th. I
didn't know that either.
Rest in peace, Mike. I did not know that. Thank you so much for that. Well, there we go. See, man, we was in the spirit. There we go. We was in the spirit. All right, let's get this dance going. All right, this is a different one. Let's go.
Okay, let's see.
Black people don't like the climate that came with Trump's presidency. This second, can we agree with that? We don't like that climate. We don't like this racist overt climate, do we? Absolutely not. We don't like that.
Do you think these
people feel
you live overseas?
Yeah.
Right. And I got a question. I noticed that we talk in very collective language, and I'm using it right now. Like black folk. We talk in very collective language. Do other people groups abroad do that? Do they speak on behalf of all Italians or all Sunni or all? Do they do that? Because it just seems odd that we in the United States speak on behalf of every other black person.
No, it happens. It's much
does?
more
Okay.
so. It happens over here in sense. I don't know if it happens in terms of in European culture and stuff like that. I travel quite a bit, so I don't know if it happens over there. But right now, just due to there's a lot of conflict right here, right? You have Jews, you have Arabs, you have so you do have some of that, and culturally in the Jewish world, we do use a lot of we. And realizing that we need to work on the we, but it happens. But it's ironic that in America, I would say that it's used a lot much more so by us, right? I'm doing it again by us, right? We use much more than other cultures of where there's a melting pot. But I think you may find it anywhere where there's a dominant certain ethnicity, or two dominant or three dominant ethnicities, you may find it much more so but in America where it's a melting pot, you probably find it much less outside of the black culture.
Really? Okay. Because I'm just it just seems interesting. I never hear white people talk like that here.
Yeah.
I don't hear Hispanic people. I don't hear people saying we need a white leader. We need a again, I don't hear Hispanic people saying we need Hispanic leaders to step forward. It's only black people. Primarily,
the issue is that the we doesn't match the action, right? So there's
good point.
One of the criticisms that we get is Jews is all the Jews, they just stick together or whatever the case is. So that's a justifiable we, because we talk about we all the time, right? So although from the inside, I could just tell you from the inside, the argument is always there's not enough unity. From the outside, everybody thinks the Jews just all stick together. I mean, the amount of infighting that goes on is insane, right? Not to the point of where people just taking each other out. It's nothing reflective of Chicago. But what I'm talking about is that there is a certain sense of there has to be a we, that it's God mandated that we have to be a we. So therefore, we's very much so part of the culture, but it plays out in society. We take care of one another. We look after one another. And right. And when you're not doing it, you're called on it. Right. So the issue and the irony of in black culture using we all the time when we ain't really a we. It's not really a we. You understand what I'm saying? And so we is used a lot, but it's just used because it's advantageous against, whenever it's because I tell you what, when they talk about we in the streets of Chicago, what happened the other day, all these people that got shot the other weekend or whatever the case is,
38 people shot.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. But where's the we?
Where's the we there? Right.
We only we when the Carmelo and Metcalf situation happened. That's when we become we. So I think it becomes more noticeable because we become we at interesting times. You understand what I'm saying? I think that's what it is.
Those are bars right there. We become we at interesting times because in Chicago, we is ducking.
Right.
Right. We are ducking and we're looking for cover. But Carmelo, we stand with Carmelo. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
So
all right. Good catch.
Feel entirely too comfortable saying what they thinking out loud. They used to have sense enough to shut up about it. The FBI and the DOJ said they reported almost 12,000 hate crime incidents involving 14,000 victims in 2024. And race made up the largest category, and black people were the biggest victims of hate crimes. But here's the part people don't want to tell the truth about. I want you to listen. You're not gonna like me when I finish. I want you to hear me. Listen. There's a lot of black people who secretly like some of these racist ass white commentators, or at least they like certain things they say. I'm gonna say it. You don't have to like me. I don't give a damn. Let's look at the old hot boy Nick Fuentes. He says some racist, offensive stuff all the time. But if you look,
okay, because I know where he's gonna go. Actually, I do remember. I have seen a little bit of this. I know where he's gonna go. I want us to stop, and this is something bad. I know people don't like when I say this. I don't believe that everything that we say is racism is racist by a mile. I don't think a lot of this stuff, just because Nissim says something that a Hispanic person doesn't like, doesn't mean that Nissim hates that white person, the Hispanic person, and vice versa. That doesn't mean that. Just because somebody says something that bristles your hairs doesn't mean that it's racist. That again, we're assuming you're assuming motive and intent just because I didn't like that Nissim said something to me. Well, he's a racist. Like we need to stop that, because there's some true opportunities to learn from one another that we're missing because we just sit there and yell, well, this person's a racist. It actually says something, because the other one, he was talking about the hood prom situation. I would love to understand, why do we celebrate proms? Like, I don't know. I don't understand that. I would love for somebody, and when we ask it as a highly melanated community, we get called all this stuff, you just hating and blah, 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 black joy. We just want to celebrate. When a white person asks it again, the same thing, you say that she's racist. You still ain't told us why you're doing it.
Right.
Why are you renting a Ferrari for a kid, walking around here flashing cash, or flashing your rent money? Why are you doing that? What is the value in that?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I just it's really, really bad. It's really, really bad. But I agree with you. Not every single thing that you say is racism. Listen, I'm both worlds. Not everything is anti-Semitism that somebody says is anti-Semitism. Like, it's not. It is more in volume. I've said this before. I have experienced much more anti-Semitism than I have racism, and that's just because I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. It's very is what it is. So, but I could definitely say that it's the sheer volume of racism are things that have come off has been a result of black fatigue, right? And so people have much more so emboldened by a lot of the nonsense and rhetoric. Like the most racist thing to ever happen was Black Lives Matter movement. Like that created, like, I talk to friends that in my inner circle, they didn't be comfortable with me, whatever, just like people that I know who are, I always say Jews are not white, they're white passing, like Ashkenazi Jews come from Europe or whatever the case. They're white passing, but Hitler didn't treat them like they were white. So you could call them white if you want to. So, but he said, one of my friends said to me, it happened to me a few occasions, is like, yeah, bro, I just stopped hiring black people. Just after the black light, like he was just straight up with me. I can't do it. This one started acting out like that. And what it did was it created things that nobody was even thinking about. These were not even conversations there. And then once the backlash happens, then it's like, see, they've been like this the whole time. It's like, no, they actually were not. No, they
you exacerbated
it. You have exacerbated and brought out things that people just. Yeah, it's crazy. So no doubt about it. Every time it's brought doesn't mean that they're being racist. And to be honest, I don't know where he's gonna go, but I could say that Nick Fuentes is a complete. He's the guy's off his rails and his rockers. I think a lot of it's performative. You can see him like with a smirk on his face because he knows like he's saying so, like he doesn't. He's genuinely not genuine. And a lot of the things he may believe what he's saying,
I love it,
but he's like he's really saying it much more so for the thrill than he is for the fact that he actually believes it. And he says stuff sometimes that makes you go like, wow, that's a very interesting fact, right? Like, doesn't remove the color of who he is, but he's a respectful enemy, basically, I could say.
Right now, and I've actually stopped. I've highlighted some things that, because Nick has some moments of cogent response. I'm like, this is the best I've heard anybody say this. I actually have stopped highlighting his stuff because I'm like, I don't want to have to answer for
Right.
the 900 things that he said that are insane. And because I'm using the 3 things that he said that were really cogent, or, speaking against Candace or calling out an issue, I'm like, you know what?
Right.
It's not worth it to me.
Right.
But
right,
again,
right.
like every broke clock is right twice a day.
Twice a
Just
day.
so
That's
happens,
right.
it just so happens that Nick's clock, sometimes the day is like 500 hours, but it's right at least twice a day. But
Right. Right.
again, to just pinpoint what you just said there, a lot of the quote unquote things that we're calling racist in 2026 are really the fact that we exacerbated and went too far into really
Right.
insaneville in 2020.
Mhm.
And a
Right.
lot of people, like, they're pushing back on that because they did all this, bending over backwards, turning themselves into pretzels to prove that they weren't racist in 2020. And now they're like,
Right.
look, I'm tired. I'm tired of turning
Right.
myself into a pretzel. Go
Right.
kick rocks. And that's why we
Right.
have this situation now. But let's see how he teases us out. Let's go.
At his spaces, there are black people and other non-white people who still watch his content. What does that tell you? It doesn't mean they agree with the racist rhetoric, but it does mean something. It means that some black people are so frustrated with degeneracy inside of the black community that they'll listen to somebody they don't even like because he's saying out loud what a lot of traditional, regular black people have been saying privately for years. Tell me I'm lying.
Wow.
We agree. But see, this is one of we have some debate stopping techniques. One of them is to call you some black pejorative, Uncle Tom, a coon, a bootlicker, whatever like that. And that stops the debate. The other side is calling somebody a racist or a fascist or fill in the blank, some kind of istophobe, right? And it just stops the debate. So, Nissim might come to me with a very valid, Jason, you need to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Oh man, you just being a bootlicker. Oh man, you just being a this, that, and other. And then you're like, okay, I guess I'll just stop. And so I'll never change. I'll never grow from the opportunity of being corrected by somebody. But then if somebody less melanated says the same thing, oh man, you just this, that, and the phobe. You're an istophobe. It just kind of stops the argument.
Right.
And
1000%.
nobody grows. Yeah,
Nobody grows from it. Right.
You can't. I hate to say it, but the same things go for fools like Chud the Builder. Look, man, you ain't got to like what I'm saying, but I'm telling you the truth. I know my people. I listen to my people. When that man gets on the internet and says that you are chimping out, right? We don't like how it sounds, especially coming from this white man from Tennessee. Talking down to black people. We don't like that. We don't like the fact that he just picking on regular black people and picking fights with them.
So, do you know what, in my opinion, Nissim, what has brought about the Chud the Builder, the Nick Fuentes, the Sneakos? You know what it is?
Black degeneracy?
No.
What happened?
The fact that good black people have not been able to call out the degeneracy in our own communities.
Wow.
I think the problem is, and I've been saying this, like the fact that we won't call out mess in our own communities, other communities don't see us as being serious. And therefore they feel like that has brought about the Nicks, the Chuds, the fill in the blank outside looking in, because they see the inconsistency. Somebody said it before, and I've said it before, like, look, black folk ain't nothing if we're not inconsistent, right? We will say one thing about we'll say one thing about Carmelo Anthony, but say nothing about what happened in Chicago last weekend.
Right.
We over here marching and protesting for Carmelo, but you did not even realize that 9 people lost their lives and 38 people were shot in Chicago last weekend. That's crazy. Like, where's the consistency? And so the fact that we won't correct ourselves is the reason why these other communities and these other voices have mushroomed up like this, because we won't say anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's crazy because even in places where we will say something, we won't say it publicly, right? So I'll tell you a case in point one time. Funny story. We were once on a regular Sabbath in a synagogue one day, and one of somebody I'm very close to, like an uncle to
Uh-oh.
me, conservative, conservative, and you know what I'm saying, even politically or whatever the case. And I
Mhm.
think Barack Obama was the president at this time, and I don't know how it got that way on the pulpit, but Barack Obama did something that was not liked, obviously, in the Jewish world. Probably something he was not the best friend of Israel, right? And so I think the rabbi's giving his sermon, he's saying something, then he starts saying something not very, awesome about Barack Obama in the middle. I'm talking about 300-400 people. You know what I'm saying? He
Oh,
gets up and he says, that's not true. Like he stands up, like it's close
oh,
family
okay.
friend, and he's like going to rabbi in the middle of the thing. It was a crazy moment. I never forget it. It's like a meme, what I'm saying, amongst the family. Every once in a while we joke with him. And afterwards, we're sitting there because we usually have like you have a fellowship, but we have a kiddish afterwards. We have meal after the whatever.
Okay.
And he comes over to me and he's like, I don't like Obama. He said, but I couldn't let him talk about another black man like that. And so, so I'm just like, you stopped everything. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, he's obviously matured from that situation. And I think so. But like it was crazy to see that's like one of those things. It's like what we won't call it out, and nobody else better call it out. But we're reserved to be able to deal with it behind closed doors, right? We can say that this is a problem, this is an issue. I haven't heard too much from a lot of these other people, no matter what the color is, that's been calling out black degeneracy, that I haven't heard within the community behind closed doors, that other people who had common sense, who was able to get themselves together, they said it, but they won't let nobody else say it, and they won't say it publicly. I thought about this a while back. I think it was Talib Kweli was on talking about. He was commenting. I think it was Pierce Morgan. He was on Pierce Morgan, and
Okay.
Ben Shapiro and what's his name, Tom McDonald had just released that song together, right?
Yeah, I
And
know
they're
you're talking about.
basically
Yeah.
talking about, we won't turn your girls into, HOEs, and we're not gonna do this. And they're basically rapping, their version of
Yeah.
white boy rap, but obviously taking something that Talib Kweli thought was culturally, out of bounds. So as he's going on and talking about that's not what all rap music is about, because he's the positive rapper and all that. But he's been rapping. I grew up on Talib. He's been rapping about the black struggle for most of his, and who consumes most of his music? White people. You've been
Right.
having this conversation so long on record in front of everybody. And so when somebody else calls it out, now you got something to say about it. It's a
Correct.
hypocrite. It's a hypocrite. Not being
We
able
ain't
to
nothing if we ain't
be able to call
inconsistent.
yourself out. Inconsistent.
We're
Inconsistent.
inconsistent. He should be celebrating, like, yes, thank God, thank you for saying the same thing that I'm saying.
I've been
Now, you
saying
can even
exactly.
right. You can go ahead and get your little shine and say, "Hey, I've been saying this. I'm glad Nissim finally picked up on what I've been saying. Shout out!
Right.
All times you picked up
Absolutely.
on it, rather than
Right.
how dare Nissim say that? You over
Right.
there overseas. You outside of America. You don't need to be
Right.
talking as an expat. You keep your expat
Right.
over there. No,
Right.
no. You have as
And
much
doesn't
a
it
voice as anybody. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, don't you think it bleeds in also too? One of the things I was disturbed about, I remember seeing during the riots and Black Lives Matter and whatever. It's really big in Seattle also too. Seattle's nuts over there.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
love the culture of where I come from and the
Woo.
people that I grew up with, but we just call a spade a spade. Seattle's crazy. Anyways, during the
Summer of
riots
love.
and what was going on, I seen some of my friends, it was a lot going on social media. Some of my
Mhm.
friends who didn't grow up with, I'm talking about with no struggle. I'm talking about the friends that had both mother and father. Father's a pastor. They had, grew up in wholesome homes and all that. What are you outside picketing about? What you outside going crazy? But like, what do you understand what I'm saying? Like, what
Mhm.
was that? I couldn't even understand it or put two and two together. Like, you're not even, you know what I'm saying? So like, it is something that just bleeds into other areas of where we just blindly start following some. This is why I say it's idolatry. This is why I say that it's antithetical to godliness in its and just in its essence, because it leads people to start going out and protesting and all these other things on things that are just not even germane to your lifestyle or how you grew up. Like you, it's just insane to me. So I unfortunately, like you said, I think you're right on. You're right on with saying the fact that it's nobody being able to be willing to call these things out. People that know better, and you know better because you done better, right? You ain't living out there. You acting like that. Why you not calling out? LeBron James, same thing. He's playing the victim. Like, dude, come on. You defied the odds. You need to be able to tell people you can do it. As cliche
Right.
as it sounds. So
It's
I
cliche,
think,
right?
very important.
No, I agree with you 100%. And I think going back to Dennis over here, that's what has brought about, and to the point that we made before, that's what brought about these type of commentaries is because the fact that we're not calling it out. We're not doing our part to say, call a spade and say, this is inappropriate within our community, because we're not having intra, and I'm sorry, we can't have the closed door anymore. The intra people group conversation, that's why it's coming from the outside. That's why it's coming from the outside, people calling it out. And I mean, I'm sure we can talk.
No more. It's already once it got out, it's already embarrassing. You're embarrassing everybody. We just got to talk about it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, let's dance.
Horrible person. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Some black people are still watching him and secretly saying he's a racist. He is racist as hell. But he ain't lying about some of the shit. He ain't lying about some of his behavior.
But see, I don't need Chud the Builder. I don't know anything really in depth about Chud the Builder. I know nothing about in depth about Sneeko. I know a little bit more about Nick, but or fill in the blanks, right? Myron and all these other clowns. I don't know much about them because I don't need the devil to tell me that I'm a sinner. I don't need the devil to tell me I'm a sinner. I don't need that. Like, what is he honestly telling me? I would love for somebody to explain to me what is, pick one, Sneeko, Myron. What are they telling you that you did not already know? Right.
It's horrible, man. It's horrible. So this is why I say it comes back to who's you are, because you can have two different people because of what their foundation is, meaning the essence of what they believe and their worldview. They could look at the same thing and come out with two completely different outcomes. Meaning that the same thing that a Myron or Nick or whoever else is could call out and talk about how it's degenerate and it's bad and it's evil, it's this and whatever the case is. The reason why that's offensive a lot of times is because those are the things that we glorify and praise over here, right? So if I glorify and praise it, no wonder why they're getting so upset by it, because this is I thought it was cool to have this many babies mamas and this and to be, on the street and selling this and doing this and all the other stuff. So these are the things I take pride in. You understand what I'm saying? And that's when it comes to calling good evil and evil good. So when they're flipped out, so the reason why it gets so offensive, you understand what I'm saying? So it's unfortunate, and even sometimes you'll have upstanding people who come from good homes and everything else, but they love identifying with the degeneracy, because to them that's the core of Black culture. They just, it's not their fault they grew up with a mom and a dad and you know what I'm saying, and all this other stuff. But who I really am is this. So
no, right on the button.
And that's the part nobody wants to admit. I'm gonna tell it because I don't give a damn. I'm gonna tell you exactly what Black people say. We tired of it too, aren't we? All that cutting up and acting a fool, you can't even enjoy yourself. Tell the truth. People, these youngsters, young and old, out of control. And the same thing applies for people like Charlie Kirk, the gentleman who got shot, and that fool Myron Gaines, and some of these other online non-Black conservative podcasts. I'm telling y'all the truth. That's why so many Black people watch them. We don't like everything them fools say. We don't like how it sounds coming out of their mouths, especially since they're non-black, non-FBA. We don't like it. We recognize the harsh racial overtones and the contempt. But some black people are still happy because that's what they've been saying for years.
That's the part. That's the part. That's what I'm saying. Like, we have bred the Myrons, the Sneekos, the Chud the Builders in the issue. And I disagree with him about Charlie Kirk. So I'm
you and I both. I think
yeah.
Charlie Kirk was a giant. Yeah.
Right. He was not, he's not included amongst these mites. But we've created these problems by not calling it out. And go ahead.
He's the same in the sense that he made them feel some type of way. Because sometimes it ain't even about. It's the truth hurts sometimes. Yeah. Truth hurts, especially if it's touching on your sores and where you got pain at. And truth hurts, right? So I can understand why he's saying it. Although I think Charlie's in a different category altogether, not even the worlds apart. But I that's why I think that the people felt the same pain. It's just like, man, that's a harsh truth. And you don't look like me. You know what I'm saying?
How dare you not look like me saying stuff? How dare you? I'm right there with you. Yeah. I am right there with you. I'm gonna all right, we're gonna finish this up because I'm gonna bring up an example of we need to police ourselves. I'm gonna bring up an example, and then as we finish with Dennis again, I think Dennis is better. Is this a better one at least?
Yeah, it's much better.
I've done better. Okay, good. Woo. I ain't want to sit there and sell them to you, and I messed it up. Let's go.
Talking about black on black crime haven't we? We've been talking about how horrible it is, but every time you say something about it, why we talking about? So you can't say nothing. We've been talking about baby mama culture. We've been talking about absent fathers.
We created the problem. We're creating our own problems.
Can't say nothing. We've been talking about degenerate behavior. We've been talking about reckless sexuality, ghetto ass neighborhoods, no disciplined children and grown people, no order. You can't shame them. No damn standards, no accountability. But when you say it, guess what they call you? Oh, you a coon. You a sellout. You Uncle Tom. You acting white. So now, they shut up, right? That's what happens. We just shut up. Black people, all you regular black people, you can't say nothing because if you say something, you're not down no more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what we got now? We got these white people acting as black avatars. Somebody type Babatar. We got white people acting as black avatars. We got Babatars saying things that a lot of regular black folk want to say to these the degenerate side of our own culture. You see? And that's why this whole racism conversation is more complicated than the Democrats want to admit. We don't like white people talking down to black people, but at the same time, this behavior needs to be called out, doesn't it? Does it need to be called out? Y'all cool with it? Huh?
I can't hear you for
personally.
Some reason.
I apologize. I put myself on mute. I apologize. I think personally, we need to start. He said we can't shame them. I disagree. We do need to shame people. We do need to isolate people and stop supporting things that don't promote. If we want to see, I want to see families grow. I want to see husbands and wives married, having children, raising those children, and wash, rinse, and repeat. That's what I want to see. So I'm not going to, and I should not support things in my community that disagree with that. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I should not support things that I don't want to see. I want to see more happy, healthy, strong marriages. That's what I want to see. So I should not support the degeneracy of that, or the degrading of that, or the debasing of that. We can do that. We can say, oh, no, we're not rocking with you. Now we're not going to
identify with it.
Right.
Like,
I don't identify.
That ain't us.
That's I was 2 summers ago, y'all was bopping around here talking about they not like us. Then point them out and say they not like us. That's not me. Say it. Say it. I can go ahead and bring Kendrick back into the discussion. Say they're not like us. I don't rock with that.
Right.
I don't know
right,
what cookout
right,
they going to, but I'm not going to that cookout.
right,
I
right,
don't even
right.
care. But y'all will sit there and flag me and Nissim and say we can't come to the cookout because we're saying, why are you supporting things that degrade your community? Why are you supporting the drug dealers?
Right.
Why are you
Right.
okay with that? Why are you okay with the fact that there are more payday loan places and check cashing places than banks in your community? Why are
In
you
your
okay with
community.
that?
No.
Why are you not? No, I believe in saving money. I believe that you should want to have money in your community. Why
Right.
are we not okay with that? Why are you okay with kids running around here doing teen takeovers? But then we're the bad guys because we call it out. Now you got these other people outside of the group talking about it, and now you're in your feelings.
It's crazy, man. It is crazy. Listen, you can say it as you can say it for the both of us. I agree, and I think that the only thing I would push back on is on shaming, right? So my issue is always trying to figure out methodology, because I know, and on one, because then we end up in this cycle, and this is one of the cycles that we have right now, and I don't think it's as going as leaning into being as soft as I would say sometimes. I get very disappointed with the way sometimes Stephen A. Smith is, and his sort of what I feel like sort of pandering to keep the hood card. You know what I mean? Even though he disagrees with a lot of these things, he'll call things out. But sometimes I feel like there's a little bit too much, right? You still have to keep some level of distance. And the reason why I say that is, one of my issues I always had with Candace, and I would message her even back when I was a fan of hers. I just always felt like the approach. There was another guy right around the same time she was coming up. Unfortunately, he had passed away. I think his name was Kingface. I don't know if you know who Kingface was, but he was a social influencer. Yeah, look him up. He was like straight from the hood, from Compton. He was coming up around the same time Candace was. He was getting a lot of followers on IG or whatever, and I had reached out to him. And whatever, he was just very strong with, like, he appreciated the love. And just what my feedback was, he just felt like, man, this is the way I need to speak to the people that I'm affecting. If you look up Kingface,
Yeah,
him and her actually did some stuff together.
I see it. Yeah.
And so he was a part of that black conservative movement, straight from the hood. I remember him one time being out there with all his red on. He was in the crowd, was like, yeah, y'all said I wouldn't come out here, huh? Like, and I'm out here,
Right.
and he was marching and going up on people during the Black Lives Matter, and nobody wanted to touch him. Obviously, he had street cred. I digress. I'm going off. But anyway, I had always worried about the methodology not being as effective. It's going to get us clicks. It's going to get more and more people to like you. But at the end of the day, they need to be reminded. So I'll tell you some of what I was saying yesterday in my first segment on my monologue was the fact that you knowing part of who you are, going back to that idea of knowing that this culture is an imposterous culture, and you come from a culture of when you met oppression, and when you did, you built your own businesses, you built your own bus systems, your own educational system. That's who you are. Right. So I think that there's somewhat of a reminding people of who they really are, and not believing who they're telling you need to be on the latest rap video or this thing or this social influencer and all these people who's they just this degenerate culture of what it is. Remind you of what your culture was. I don't know if I told you this last time, but we were having a discussion. I have we have a group, WhatsApp group of about 90 of us, black, everybody's black, Orthodox Jews from different, slight different customs or whatever the case is. But everybody is. It started with me, a friend of mine, Zacharia, and Mari Stoudemire also too. We all started. It came from one Shabbat meal we were all having at the house. And so we ended up making this group chat, and it grew into 90 guys. So we were having a back and forth on this about dress, So one guy was saying, he wanted to keep closer to the way that he dressed, before even he came to Judaism. So he kind of, kept with the baggy jeans, Timbos, whatever the case was. And he was getting on me because the route that I came in and the rabbis I came into, I dress in a black long coat. I wear a hat. I wear a strimal, whatever, like the furry hats, with other stuff like that. And so, but I usually go with a hat every day, And so as he's going back and forth, so I pull up this video in the 1930s. Oklahoma, black people coming out of a bank business meeting. And guess what? They all dressed like me. They got black hats on. They got long coats and suits and they're walking around like that. I said, so
Right.
I don't think you're closer to what original black culture is. I think I am. I think they dress like me more than they dress like you. And so what I think by that is, I mean, that's here nor there. That's a timing thing. But I think that it's sort of forgetting who you were and who you are culturally. And sometimes we see how much the pushback is if you try to talk common sense into them. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah,
at
yeah.
them. But sometimes you got to talk it into them. That's what I meant. And so I don't know if definitely calling things out that are public and that are destructive while they're public. But I think the actual message to people and directly for directing something has to be one of encouragement of wake up and remember who you are. You know what I mean?
I can
So
dig that. You know what? I'm gonna take that and springboard into.
Mhm.
I'm gonna play this clip,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna explain why. My only pushback is when I said shame. I'm like we have to separate it, and kind of like what you're saying here with the way
Right.
that you dress. The way that you dress shows and denotes that you're not a part of a. Like for example, I'm gonna go on a
Mhm.
limb, Nissim.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't know your wife. I don't know your family, but I'm gonna go on a
Right.
limb. I'm gonna go, even if you're traveling, even if you're trying to be comfortable, I'm gonna bet that your family doesn't go around in slides and pajamas and bonnets. Your girls don't do that.
Absolutely not.
I'm
Absolutely
gonna go on
not.
a limb. I bet you your boys don't go around here with do-rags and Nike Tech and slides. Is that fair?
Absolutely right.
Right. So even in that, like there's a
Right.
delineation. Now, I might not um Team Whitaker loves cruises. We will save
Mhm.
up money to go on a cruise before we do anything else.
Right.
Right.
I hear
So
that.
we won't go to the Grand Canyon, but we will go to Grand
I
Cayman
don't do it
on a
enough,
boat
but
in a
that's
minute.
a beautiful thing to
I
love.
love it. But when we go, we don't, we're not tails and booted and suited, but you will never confuse Team Whitaker with the slides and the bonnets and the do-rag community. It's just never gonna happen. Is never
Right.
going to
Right.
happen. So a lot of people
Right.
have seen this, and I just think this is, to me, this is just deplorable behavior.
Right.
And so this is
Absolutely.
what happened on a Carnival cruise. This is the embarkation. You haven't even left yet.
Mm.
I don't know. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
Maybe
this is
it's one of those older ones. Let me see if I
no.
see it.
This happened just recently.
Oh no, I for sure ain't seen it then. Oh my God.
You trying to get on the boat?
Hey, move.
Mm.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out.
Oh my
Watch out,
God.
watch out.
Mm, mm, mm.
I need my shoes. I'm gonna go to jail.
That's an understatement.
I need my shoes.
Oh.
Let me get my shoes. What's the number? See right here. Let's go home.
Oh.
I don't know if you see it. I'm gonna stop. Darn it! This
That's
lady has
horrible.
one of
I
those
can see it.
stands.
I'm
Great. She
looking
got
at
one of
it.
those stands, bruh. She got one of
Oh.
the line stands about to swing it. And so my point is, like, I'm not gonna watch the whole rest of it because it's just. I think I made my point. Like,
Be
we have
careful
to
what
separate
you
ourselves
do.
from that. We
Right.
can't allow ourselves to get even considered amongst that kind of foolishness.
You're
So
1,000% right.
if that means that I'm gonna have to do long coats and a hat everywhere I go to make sure that you understand, I'm not rolling with y'all. Like
Right.
you are another breed.
Can
You're
I tell you something
different.
fascinating?
Please.
So coming from my background, I noticed the difference in when I changed by now, forget about the way people outside of black culture treated me, right? So
Mhm.
very, very often, I don't know how it is in Atlanta. I have a friend who's from Atlanta actually. So I would have to ask him, but usually for sure in New York and a lot of big cities or whatever, you have affluent and usually Jewish community, very close to a black community or ethnic or whatever the case is. And so even as I was, growing and changing, I remember realizing that as I was changing on the inside, I started changing on the outside before the black coat or whatever. So I just started putting on, slacks and a button-up shirt, and I
Mhm.
remember coming back saying my experience at the gas station is so much more different with the slacks and the
Mhm.
shirt on from other black people.
Yep.
People in the hood was treating me differently, right? So like I remember going to the gas station all the time. Like it's one of those things, and if you know, looking at somebody for too long could be the cause of death. You understand what I'm
Correct.
saying?
Yeah.
Staring and all that other stuff like that. So you do what you got to do, but don't look at nobody too hard or whatever the case is. And so there's a certain discomfort when somebody comes in and they got that energy. They look the look, they got that energy. They come into the gas, whatever the case is, or whatever. And if you dressed a certain way, they gonna look you up and down if they don't know you. If you are
Mhm.
not from that hood, if they haven't met you or they pass through, they look you up and down because of that way. As opposed to, I'm telling you, the response is I start putting on, slacks and I start putting on a shirt because I was changing on the inside. I naturally didn't want to associate with who I used to
Very
be,
good.
right?
Very good. Yeah.
And so when I'm in the store, people are like, "Oh, sir, you wanna go?" Whatever. Same people from the hood, they start calling
Mhm.
me sir. I became sir because I put on
Yeah.
slacks and a shirt. So how much more so should we be, very cognizant of the way we present ourselves
Good.
because we treat each other differently when we dress a certain way. A
Right.
man with a suit in the hood is treated differently than a person who's dressed like he's from the hood, right? So
Correct.
it proves it tells on itself that we value a person differently based on the way that they present themselves.
No, I'm right there with you. And I think we could go a long way to consider that. But I do think it's not just an external change. It has to be, as you said,
In
as you were
yeah.
changing inwardly, the inward
Mhm.
manifestation, what comes out of the mouth is what's in the heart. And I think
Right.
that outward manifestation has to be an inward change.
Right.
Before just saying, "Oh, let me just put on a suit," because you go back to the the 20s, there were gangsters wearing suits
Them
and
gangsters wearing
suits
suits. That's right.
and Tommy guns, right? So that doesn't make you, that
Right.
doesn't
That's
make
true.
you free of problems. It has to be something that happens on the inside that
Right.
is
Right.
shown on the outside. Yeah, did it right.
Mhm.
All right, let's finish
Exactly.
up with Dennis. All
Okay.
right, let's go. I messed that up.
I'm not cool with it. You got all these black folks destroying the image and our safety and our stability and in the future of Black America, and a lot of regular black people are tired of being forced to defend them just because they lump us all together because they're all black. We tired of that. Tired
Mhm.
as hell.
Mhm.
Some of these people, you went to the military and served for years and you went home and now you got to live next to some clowns, acting a fool, smoking weed, cutting up. It's the same reason black people call the damn police when the foolishness in the neighborhood gets out of hand. Tell the truth. When we see these young sidewinders out here terrorizing the black folk in the community, acting crazy, threatening families, turning the block into a goddamn circus, shooting and stealing and fighting and breaking in cars and making regular black people scared to live in our own damn neighborhoods, who do we call? We call 911. That's who we call. And that's not just talk.
Mhm.
The Pew Research Center found that 38% of black adults, grown people, said police spending in their area should be increased. Pew also found that black adults wanted police funding in their community to either stay the same or be increased. Did you hear me?
So I'm going to say something controversial. I wonder, and I've always wondered this. I am pro policing, right? I'm pro policing,
Mhm.
but I'm also
Mhm.
pro the community policing the community. I always wonder what is and being a Christian, I'm going to say, what is the church influence in the community,
Mm.
because this is a discipleship problem.
Yeah.
It's
I hear
it's a
you.
discipleship problem.
Mhm.
Now, there are some people who are just going to need to go to jail. They need to go to jail, right? But there's some that can be discipled from making bad decisions,
Right.
right? And taught some skills. Some men come around them and help them learn, like, oh, there is a better way,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
there's a meaningful way that you could, a path that you could take versus the path that you just gonna go to jail.
Right.
And I don't
Right.
think everybody needs to go to jail, but I think there's a certain point, yeah, you got to go to jail. But we could have discipled you before then. And I always wonder, like, what is the community doing besides just saying, woe is me, we're victims to this, let's call the
Yeah.
police.
Yeah.
Right? What did y'all do 10 days before? What did y'all do a month before? What did y'all do a year before you had to call the police on little Johnny, little Ray Ray? Okay, I'm sorry, go
Right.
ahead.
No, it's a structural issue. There is, you know, being in a community, I can tell you, it's as if there's absolutely no black community. Like I don't believe, like, we so far off. After being in a community, I could tell you it is the amount of infrastructure that you would need to be able to, I know you to be able to have the proper support systems in place to even get the kids or get these young people to the pastors or the preachers or to the every. It's just it's not, you have to have certain infrastructure when you understand what I'm saying. Like, I'll tell you this, like, most of these kids who come here in Israel come from America. They're gonna go and go do what we call yeshiva. They're gonna come learn the religious studies and different things like that, and they'll figure it out after a while. They're either gonna go back to America and get married, and usually the parents are gonna set them up very nicely, right? So the parents are involved. The parents are usually very involved in the decision making process of who they marry. It's not like how they try
Okay.
to make it in the movies. People have make their own choices.
Right,
I'm
right.
just saying, in a typical situation, and they get married, they're set up with a place somewhere in the community, and usually they're going to have a job opportunity within their community. You understand what I'm saying? For somebody inside the community, very easily. You understand what I'm saying? Because the community infrastructure is built that way. People spend with each other. People, and so there's so much infrastructure that just doesn't exist already. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I tell you, my cousin, he went to prison when we were
Ooh,
19. I think we were 19 years old.
right.
He just got out a few years ago. I'm 39, so he's well in his 30s, 40 now. So a few years ago, he just got out. He, long story short, he's in a shootout. He shoots the wrong person, shoots some 13-year-old kid in the head who ends
Ooh.
up surviving. So you get worse
Oh,
time
wow.
because it's not even, the kid was, lived. And so you have all of that. So he ends up going to prison after a while, turns himself in. He's in prison all that time. He gets out, and I'm like at a shock. What does he come home to? He don't got nothing to come home to. You know what I'm saying? He's got his
Yeah,
mother, father was never really in his life, never really claimed
I
him,
got you.
even though he looks dead smack on him. He looks like all his brothers and sisters running around, and who his father does claim. Father don't claim, never claimed him. He's got his father's name. So whatever, the hood
I got
raised
you.
him. Almost everybody he was around before he got locked up is dead. They all been shot, right? So talk about his core circle. He gets out, ain't no job opportunities, ain't nobody there well off enough in the thing to offer him something that to keep that structure. Like, so I remember I
I
was
got you.
literally crying the day he came home. And I was just like, he don't got nowhere to go to. You know what I'm
Mm-mm.
saying? So it's a very there's a lot of infrastructure before we say straight that it's on the pastors and stuff like that, because with any organized religion all the time too, it's not always as it seems. Not everybody has the ability to do proper discipleship, as what you're talking about, to get
Mhm.
these guys in. It takes a powerhouse. In another case, I could tell you of another kid who was around the same age who got shot, who actually did die. And I remember being there at this memorial. And I'll never forget my good friend Paul Plateau. He was like a mentor to me. never a strong, staunch Christian, but his thing was he loved the kids and the youth, and you would see it, his passion he wore on his sleeve. So there was a preacher who was up before him, and I mean, he must have said Jesus about 900 times, and I don't know if he said any other words. He just was not resonant. Everybody was over there looking at the next person, just like can't wait for him to get off. And he's done, hops in his nice car afterwards. But Paul grabs the mic, and he's got everybody over there in tears. He's speaking with passion, so much fire about the
Right.
youth and what we have to do. And I asked him after. I said, Paul, I said, how do you have so much passion? Like, where you get it from? You understand what I'm saying? You know what he
Correct.
said to me? He said, these kids that he's helping, because he was really big in the year. He said, these kids are going to raise my kids. My kids are going to be looking to these kids. So if I don't treat these kids like they're my kids, you understand what I'm saying? And
We're
in
in
fact,
trouble.
we're in trouble.
Right.
And if it's and he was an anomaly in saying that how many guys maybe at the leadership level that you may not have the people in place to go and to bring these kids and get them back into any type of church structure and form. We may be out, we may not have the personnel. It's just a big thing.
That's fair. That's fair.
Mhm.
I'm always, and I think the last time we talked, we kind of noodled this out. I think it like if your family and everybody in your synagogue in your community all just took it upon themselves to say, hey, we are going to be a part. We're going to do our best to disciple this community. We got some young men that are just running free and wild. If everybody, let's say there's 10 running free and wild young men, and there's 10 families. If each one of them took a family member, each family rather took one of these young men under the wings and walk with them to help him make better decisions, I think that's good. I don't think it's just on the church leadership. When I say the church or the synagogue, I'm like if the people say, hey, let's, again, we police ourselves.
Right.
Before we got to get to the police got to come out here and do what they do. Like, why don't we do it beforehand and
here's
walk
the
with
question.
them? But go ahead.
Here's my question to you, though. How many people of means and resources that are there that can help facilitate a lot of the things may be needed that are still close enough to the people in the hood? Like, what I mean by that is most Black people that get successful, they leave the hood. They
That's
ain't
true.
around there anymore.
I'm
So
not
when
in
it
the hood
comes
either.
to even building certain things and needing infrastructure to help keep the kids out of trouble, because I'll be straight up, if it wasn't for the Union Gospel Mission and all those other things and creating hip hop programs and all the other stuff, which was heavily coming from obviously not Black money, it was in the hood, but it wasn't that was not who was funding it, right?
Right.
It was coming from other people who really, had their way of wanting to help. And so those things kept us out of trouble, but you need resources to keep the kids busy and keep them occupied. There's nothing worse than kids who don't got something to do.
Woo.
So the problem is, and where I think the biggest difference is that there is so, I always say this. I said sometimes the biggest struggle I would say in the Jewish community is a lot of kids have too many resources. They got so many resources that they confused, don't know what to do. In our community, in the Black community, also I should say, in both of my communities. So I'd say Black community growing up, what's interesting is that there's a dire need for resources, and there's nobody who cares enough who would have come from it that are within arm's reach that you can just go and talk to. But not only do they move out the hood, but they behind a gate, behind another gate, and you can't talk to them till you talk to the next person or whatever. Like, I remember growing up being that guy wanting to do programs and stuff like that when I was still in the hood. And in order to get to other successful people I knew from the hood, it took so much to get the jump through the hoops to get to the brother, and most of the time you never get to reach him. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas in a real community structure, you'd be able to just walk over and knock on their door. But you know what I'm saying? There's no crime for them to want to move out of the neighborhood, so of course they're going to come and build beautiful homes there. So it's a lot. I think it's a big infrastructure issue and keeping people, whatever. But in all fairness, who would stay in the hood if they had money anyway? If they
Right. I mean, that's a reality.
the
Hey,
reality,
let's
man.
fit. You know, that's a real truth.
Let's
All right,
finish
let's
this
finish
one.
up with that.
I gotta go to another call, but appreciate it.
Oh,
Yeah.
no problem. Hold on. Let's do it like this. Say it one more time.
I said, so I gotta go to another call, another meeting. So, but
Oh, no problem.
yeah,
What we'll
yeah.
do, let's go ahead and end this thing right here,
Let's
because
end
I
this
know I
one up.
kept you a lot longer than I anticipated. Thank you
Yeah.
again, Nissim. I appreciate you, friend.
Thank
It's
you.
always good having you on. You are welcome whenever, man. So thank you again,
Thank you,
brother.
man. Appreciate
And
it.
I'll make
Big
sure.
time.
No problem at all. We'll catch you real soon, friend.
Best live on the internet. There we go.
The best live channel on the internet. There we go. Hey, man, I'll catch you real soon, friend.
Okay, brother.
Take care. All right. So that was Nissim Black, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll call it, because I know he had promised me 2 hours, and I look at the calendar, look at the clock. I'm right at the 2-hour mark, so I don't want to take from his time. So I appreciate y'all rocking with us. I'm going to finish this one with Dennis tonight when Kevin Briggins comes on tonight. We're going to finish up talking about this Dennis Sperling. Again, good guy. I don't see anything wrong with him at all. Let me leave the link to this. Let me grab that real quick and put it in the chat while it's on my mind. I'll put it in the description of this video as well. I think he's a good guy. Oh, well, let me put it in there. What's wrong? Okay. Some reason or other, well, let me drop the link in there. Why can't I drop the link on my own channel? Interesting. Okay, there it is. I hope that is. Did y'all see it? Okay, there we go. But yeah, thank you. Thank y'all to everybody who tapped in today. This was a good one. This evening at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Kevin Briggins, good friend of the channel. We're gonna come on. We'll finish up with this Dennis Sperling. So you gotta come on, check us out tonight. And you know, Kevin is always fun. So I appreciate that. Thank y'all to everybody who tapped in, all that kind of good stuff. I'm glad you liked it. I'm always glad to have Nissim come through. Great brother. But there is a time differential. So you know that it's good to have him. And that's why I wanted to do 9 o'clock today, because I think last time it was like midnight his time. It was crazy. And he persevered for us. So I want to make sure I took one for the team today. So thank y'all so much for tapping in. It was good. Thank y'all so much. Tonight we got Kevin Briggins coming on. We're gonna be chopping it up a little bit for our Thankful Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday Night Lights, we're gonna be doing body cam. I'm sorry, Sovereign Citizen body cam footage bingo. That's gonna be a fun one. And I think we have a good time. We got something fun planned next week that I think you'll enjoy. So I have a little bit more time to tell y'all about that. Thank y'all so much for being so kind to our guests. I love it. I'm glad that y'all enjoyed him. Maybe we have him come by through again. Now, some people said I need to have Tanash on. I reached out to Tanash. He's just super busy. So I have reached out to Tanash and I haven't heard back from him. But as soon as I can, I will have him on. I love chatting it up with Tanash Peters. So if y'all see him, y'all tell him to come hit his boy up. Hit me up. Hit me up on the email. I'll get you all the details. But thank y'all, everybody who tapped in today. This was a lot of fun. I am going to go and be Dad of the Year, and I talk to the dynamic duo. So you all have a great rest of the day. Please do me a favor. Make sure you tip your waiters on the way out the door. Make sure you get, if you don't mind, if you did like this video, please go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead. Share it with your friends. Tell a friend. Tell a friend. I really appreciate it. Everybody, I'm going to see you all real soon. Until then, grace and peace. See you soon.